Hello there, Comic Clan, and welcome to Comics at the Cross, the greatest streamers you have never heard of. I, of course, am one of your hosts for today, Cross, sitting alongside my partner in crime, Nitro.
What's up, everybody?
And welcome to the podcast today. We are excited. We have a lot of stuff to get through today because... Do you remember last week? Right. You remember last week when I said, yeah, I don't really know what we're going to talk about next week. There might be a couple of news things.
It was a couple of times during the week you're like, I have no idea what we're going to talk about.
Apparently, Warner Brothers Discovery, the new joint company over DC, heard me. And decided, hey, Comics the Cross needs some stories to talk about, so we're just going to go back rap crazy for a week and just give them a whole bunch of stuff.
We'll implode our entire comic book movie business. There you go. You're welcome.
Yeah, pretty much. Welcome to everyone in the chat. Mr. Rob Stott's hanging out there asking, do you guys have a favourite story run from Marvel and DC?
I'll let you go first, because you have the encyclopedic knowledge of that, and then I'll add my input.
I've got a few different runs I like. Automatically, I always gravitate first of all to Civil War for Marvel, just because Civil War was like the first thing that I was a fan of superheroes in comics, but it was hard getting them and getting to comics all the time and stuff when I was in Scotland. But Civil War was like the defining moment of okay, yeah, I'm seeking this stuff out.
Yeah,
I'm absolutely seeking this stuff out. The first time I heard about Iron Man versus Captain America was big events that alter Marvel are par for the course at this point. But in 2006, when Civil War came out, that was unheard of, and it really honestly changed everything. So that was one that definitely for me. Other favourites I go to, I will always highly praise Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four run. Just because, which I can talk about a bit more freely now because you've actually read it now.
Yeah, I finished.
But the fact it's this massive run is essentially the story of a father and son, laid out over years. It's one of Hickman's best runs for it. Steve McNiven, artist, and a great choice. Yeah, McNiven's art in that is stunning. Literally, go and compare the image of Cap with the shield up fighting Iron Man. They took it right out of the comic for the movie. It's beautiful. For DC, I'm trying to think. First one that pops to mind for DC is Snyder and Capullo's run on Batman. Their first couple of the Court of Owls stuff is always a phenomenal story. Yeah. That stands out to me. Just it really drew me in. I'm not the biggest of Batman fans in the world, but the way that story is written is so well done. I kind of with DC, I like a bit of old school stuff as well, the hard traveling hero stuff with Green Lantern and Green Arrow. I always gravitate towards that a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff with Marvel and DC for me, but honestly, I'm getting more into the indie side of things a lot more now.
Yeah.
And I'm finding there's so much stuff in the indie scene that outshines Marvel and DC in all honesty.
Yeah.
Which was one of the reasons I wanted to do Indie Comic Book Club. So yeah, there's a ton out there. But what about yourself? Anything that
I think for me, so the most exciting thing that I'm reading right now is The Last Ronin with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's so good. It's so good. And I know it's not Marvel or DC, but like you said, we've been getting more into the indie scene over the past year and a half. And in addition to that, IDW's collection of the Transformers series.
That's so good.
It's so good. And Lock and Key. I think those top three for me that are non-Marvel and non-DC, I think those are the top three for me. As far as Marvel goes, most of my Marvel reading has been in the past 2 to 3 years since meeting Cross. But I would say I just finished Hickman's Avengers and New Avengers and Fantastic Four. And some of it goes way over my head, because Hickman is just a very cerebral writer. But I really, really liked his take on the New Avengers and Avengers. And his Fantastic Four run with Johnny Storm and the Fantastic Four family was awesome. It was so cool.
Yeah. I think Hickman's a big favourite for both of us. Even his most recent stuff that he done with Marvel, the X-Men run was nice. It was just a shame we never really got to see the conclusion of that because he went off independent from it. But yeah.
I think another one for me that really, really, really surprised me is I'm not a huge Thor fan, but before we went and saw Love and Thunder, I had purchased Volume 1.
Yes, I can't believe that you even mentioned this. Yeah,
I had purchased Volume 1 of God of Thunder, like months ago in prep for the movie, and Jason Aaron and Asad Rivik. I don't know if I'm murdering the artist's name, Asad Rivik, but that volume 1 is one of the prettiest comics I think I've ever read. I think the writing is awesome. The way that they transition between flashback and present is really, really cool. And I really want to continue reading that run, but that's probably one of the best Marvel volumes, in my opinion, that I've read.
Yeah, Jason Aaron's run on Thor is like if anyone asks me what is the best run in Thor, without a doubt, I don't even have to think about it. Like his run on Thor for the years that he was on there is just it is stellar. It really is.
Yeah.
Alright, so we are going to be jumping into some talking about the stuff that came out this week, obviously. But first of all, we have some big announcements for today.
Yeah.
We have been teasing it for a little while. We have been prepping to start doing some D&D streams here on the channel. That does mean we're going to have a little less of the art streams, because I believe we're going to be doing the D&D every 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's every other week, so I'll be doing the art stream every other week, and I'll probably be doing some impromptu art streams throughout the week as well when Jay and Cross aren't streaming too. So
yeah, so the D&D streams are going to be on Thursday nights. So some Thursday nights are going to be the D&D, and then the next week it will be an art, and switch back and forth between them. That also means we're going to be probably not doing so much of the Sea of Thieves streams on Friday nights. We'll probably still try and fit it in other places, but yeah, we're not really going to be doing as much of the Sea of Thieves streams, but I am going to try and use Friday nights, not every Friday, but I've started asking questions on Twitter and on our Discord of doing some more community stuff.
Yep.
So maybe like once a month we'll play, like I was watching people playing Fall Guys, like maybe we'll play Fall Guys, we'll host an event just for the community on a Friday night, or we'll do a movie night in Discord or something, just simple stuff like that. As a place, it won't be every single week, but just because Nitro and I can't commit an extra night to stuff, like I can't commit Thursday and Friday nights, so if I'm moving to Thursdays I have to stop one of them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but it's just one of those things, we have lives and families and all those sorts of things.
We got a budget, man. We got to budget our time.
So it is officially moving ahead. Let me pull the picture up on screen, actually. For anyone who has not seen it yet, our D&D streams are called Let the Good Times Roll. I don't care how corny the name sounds. I loved it. The pun came in my head, and I'm like, yep, we're going with that. That has to be it. Like, Let the Good Times Roll. Although I don't know why, it's like, if you pull up, it's actually off of a song, and if you pull up the song Let the Good Times Roll, it is nothing like what I've got in my head. For some reason, I've always wanted to put like a rock thing underneath it.
It's like a country, like a southern rock type thing, right?
Yeah, it's like, but I always wanted to like go Let the Good Times Roll to like the tune of like freaking AC/DC Hell's Bells or something like that. And but back in my head, I don't know why my mind's like associated that, but it has. But Let the Good Times Roll will officially be starting on Thursday, September 1st. So in 1 month, we will be officially kicking off the D&D stream Thursday night. I believe it's going to be at 8:30.
Yep, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have to verify that with our Dungeon Master, who, if you are not aware, it is comic book legend Tom Levine. Tom Levine in the house. Tom
Levine, an amazing novelist who turned comic book writer. We have had him on the show and talked with him. He has been on the show a ton of times. He's been in chat a ton of times, so I meant to say, it's like he comes in, he hangs out with us. We had him on for an interview, which was absolutely phenomenal. So he is going to be our Dungeon Master. And the initial stream, because we have never done Dungeons and Dragons before, it's the Cars, I'm thinking of the Cars song. yes, Lizzie. We are going to be doing it just the two of us, along with Jay and Token Asian. It will be the four of us kicking it off, because we're all brand new to this. And I'm kind of gutted I'm only getting into Dungeons and Dragons, actually playing it at like in my 30s now.
Dude, I'm almost 40, so yeah.
Yeah, and Nitro's an even older man than I am, so it's like I wish
more wise.
I don't know if
it just comes. Hey man, it just comes with the territory. It's okay.
I don't think
it's
that's
okay.
true.
It's okay. It's okay.
I don't think that's the case.
It's okay.
But yes, I don't know why that made me laugh so much. But yeah, so like I'm gutted that we're only getting into it at this stage. I wish this is something I'd played a long time ago. I wish I'd gotten into it somehow. But then again, I grew up in a very conservative home where, like, I grew up in the 90s in a conservative Christian home where Dungeons and Dragons was evil.
Well, the thing is,
so
here's how it started. And I grew up in the same type of environment as well. But the thing is, obviously, everybody knows, the world now knows of Dungeons and Dragons now because of Stranger Things, right? That was a big part of that show. The show was kind of built around it. The show kind of mimicked it in certain ways. And, you know, when it came out, the season 4 finale came out at the beginning of July. I was like, we posted on Twitter. I was like, man, I've always wanted to. Well, I haven't always wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons, but I've always been curious about it. And I've always kind of like been interested in it and stuff like that. And I posted some on Twitter, and Tom Levine, who's a good friend of the channel, saw it, and he said, "You really want to play? We can start something up." And then Cross and I kind of jumped on it. We're like, "What?"
Wait, the two of them were chatting. I'm like, wait a minute, you guys are setting this up. I want to play. I want to join in.
So it started as kind of like a throwaway comment, and now we have a whole new stream coming. So we've been working on this for months.
Yeah, we've been working on this. We've been planning. We finally got all our characters finished and all that stuff. Tom is working on stuff. I have no clue what we're walking into, by the way.
No clue. Like, and he's posting some pretty sadistic, messages to us in our private chat about like we have no idea what's coming and stuff like that. So
yeah, like I'm pretty sure our DM's about to try and kill us at this point.
Yeah, he's gonna murder us the first day.
But we will officially be launching September 1st. I'm believing about 8:30. Stay up with us on our social media just in case any of that changes. And of course it will be the two of us and our lovely wives that will be playing off. But this is only our first campaign. We are delving into this. I fully wanted to do Dungeons and Dragons and do this sort of tabletop gaming.
Yeah. And
it's something to get the community involved in. Like I wanted to do beyond this campaign, whether it's same characters, whether it's different characters, whatever. I want to start getting members of the community involved and get some of the Comic Clan in to play games and get involved and, you know, make this a community thing. Because the thing is, we mentioned the idea of doing this and so many people wanted to get involved. And I know we've got a number of people who play it in the chat, like even Cameron from 1Geek411 and Cameron plus Deanna was in earlier. And he even said that like he's prepping D&D stuff now. And our good friend Caleb over at the Space Hawk, he actually hosted a D&D session in the Glass Hollow, which unfortunately my schedule was different at the time, and because I was offered the chance to be involved in it, and I'm like, you have no idea how badly I want to play, and I can't. So it's kind of cool to be kicking this off, and
and to be fair, like so this first campaign is kind of like a let's see how this goes. We're gonna iron out some kinks because I'm sure there's gonna be some technical issues. We have a new layout where there's going to be 5 separate videos that we're incorporating into this. Just managing how we're going to do it. This is going to be a learning process for us, and we'll be able to apply that to future campaigns that we play with the Comic Clan. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and that's it. This is all brand new to us. Like, so as we go into it, like, you know, we've got a little bit of experience of like role playing and storytelling stuff, but like in doing it in this sort of environment's new to us. Even getting involved in the campaign, like in playing getting into the role playing of fighting and stuff and rolling the dice and choosing what to do, getting used to that. Like, you have no idea how hard it was us making up our character sheets for the first time and like trying to get everything sorted for that. So we're like excited for this to go. To also stay on that same frame as well, you may notice down at the bottom of the screen there's some changes in logos down there. We still have our BCW logo, and we are still affiliated with BCW Supplies, who you can get for all your comic book needs. If you want bags and boards, and if you want stuff to collectible cards, collectible music, anything, that is a place to go for it. But let me check it in there. But we also have a new company that we are affiliated with, which is really cool and really exciting, to be honest.
Yes, this is awesome.
You can see it down there, Only Crits. If I can put crit in there. We now have an official link with Only Crits. They are a D&D dice company and dice accessories for tabletop gaming, and we are now affiliates with them, so you can click on that link for onlycrits.com/comics to get I believe 10% off your order, or use comics at checkout to get a little off of that, and that also kicks some money over to us and helps support us as well. So please go and check them out, and they do have some really nice stuff. And I was saying it during our pre-show, Like, they do have some cheaper dice there. They've got the plastic polyresin stuff, that sort of dice for cheaper. I think they're like $20 or something for a set, some of them. But they do have more expensive ones that are like 70 odd bucks and stuff. But it's literally, it depends on what materials you're getting for them. And it's no different from any other dice company I've looked at. Like, every other dice company I've looked at, like, it's the same. If you get something that's made out of some good stuff, you're going to be paying a pretty penny for it. So it's no different here. So
yeah, the dice look awesome, man.
might as well pick
I'm
it
on their
up.
site right now.
Yeah, it's like you may as well pick it up using our link and save yourself a little bit of money on it. Honestly,
Yeah, dude.
why not?
Yeah, the dice they're really nice. I'm looking at them right now.
Oh yeah, like I wouldn't have put us in for an affiliate thing with them if I didn't think the stuff was at least worthwhile, and there wasn't a few sets, even if it is some of the more expensive sets. But I'm like, I am so going to lose money on this site.
Yeah, because you need more than one set, right? When you're playing, because there's a lot of times where you got to roll multiple of one die.
Well, it's
right?
up to you. It's like it's one of those things. Like if I need to roll a d20, I've got my dice sitting here. Like, if I roll my d20, it's like you need to roll multiple times. It's like, oh well, I guess I can roll it, check it, and roll it again. Or like if you can roll a bunch of them and see what happens. And I think as higher up you get in level, you're asked, depending on your abilities and different stuff, you can be asked to roll multiple things. And it's like,
got it.
And it's like, yeah, technically you could roll the dice that many times, or
just have 5 sets.
Or I can use it as an excuse to buy multiple dice and decide what I want to do with them. And I'm like, I've got one set of dice, and I'm still going to end up with more. I'm not.
Oh yeah, no question about it.
So please go and check out our new affiliates. That would be absolutely amazing. If you are into tabletop gaming, then I hope you will come and support the D&D stream.
Heck yeah, man.
I literally pitched it. I was talking to Locke about it, and I literally pitched it to him as a fact of like that. Have you ever seen the chaos that happens to us on a Sea of Thieves stream? When we have a mission to accomplish, but we're being us.
Oh yeah.
Just apply that to a D&D setting, and it's probably going to explain the chaos of the storytelling.
Imagine if Chunk was in our party and explosive barrels were a thing.
Chunk might get left behind somewhere. Like we just take him off.
I think the team would murder him.
Yeah, I was going to say it's like that. Chunk's character wouldn't make it too far. I don't think.
I would like to use my bonus action to murder Chunk. Thank you.
Yeah, pretty much. Like throw an axe at him. As like, whoops, slipped. But anyway, thank you for letting us have a little rant about our D&D. Like, honestly, we are very excited for this, and I know the podcast is more about talking about comics and that sort of stuff, but honestly, we're open for geek culture. We're here to talk about all sorts of geek culture. This is part of geek culture.
We're a geek variety channel.
Yeah,
and that sometimes specializes in comics.
We do specialize in comics. That is our thing.
Yeah,
but it's like, yeah, we're open to everything else. That's why we go to movies. That's why we watch TV shows. We're now getting into tabletop gaming side of geeky. Something I didn't think we'd ever do, and like, but hey, here we go.
Speaking of movies, did you see Prey?
I have not watched Prey yet. I've seen so many good things about it.
I've heard nothing but good stuff about
I've not had a chance to watch it yet. I've got no excuse really. It's on Hulu. Like I can sit and watch it. I've just not had the chance to sit down and watch it yet. And it's
really good, man. I'm a huge Predator fan ever since the first one with Arnold. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan of most of the Predator movies. Like the solo Predator movies, not the ones that have got the aliens in them.
I even like the Adrian Brody one. I'm gonna be honest.
I like that one. I thought it was pretty good. I was a fan of that one. It's like,
even though the Predator dudes were like 8 feet tall in that movie and they weighed like 300 pounds, I still liked it.
Overall, like I thought it was a decent movie. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Is it like this big Oscar-worthy thing? Like, no, of course not. But they're never going to be. But I enjoyed it. Yeah. So like, I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this one. But we will take this opportunity now to transition into our talking points.
I don't even know where to start.
I was going to say, do we want to start?
Do we start with the Batgirl thing? Because that was the first bit of news that dropped.
Yeah, let's get into DC. DC. So before all the other announcements came for DC, the first major thing that set it off was the announcement of Batgirl, which all the stuff kept talking about it like not going to theaters. As far as I was aware, it was never going to theaters. It was going to HBO Max. Like, as far as I was aware, unless I missed something. But the news came out this week that the Batgirl movie was not going forward, that it had been cancelled. Nothing new for a movie company, nothing new for them to say that they're not going forward with the project that was originally planned. Things change. The thing is, the movie was almost done. It was in post-production. And they decided, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
They decided, it's not going to go forward. We're not going to put it on into theaters, which I didn't think they were doing anyway. They decided we're not going to put it on HBO Max, which kind of seems ludicrous. Is it really going to cost you that much money to finish it and just drop it on HBO Max?
Yeah, because I think the whole total of the movie was like 70 or 90 million to make.
Yeah,
so it's not like it was a huge movie, you know?
And it's like, if people were really unsure about this, and then news reports started coming out as well that, the actress and the cast involved, as well as the production crew on it, the directors, the writers, everything, had not been informed that it was being cancelled, and found out the same way the rest of us did, via Twitter.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And via the official announcement of it being cancelled. Rumours then started circulating as to why, and it dropped that apparently it was a big tax break for them. Apparently they were going to get a big tax break, and it was going to save them more money to just cancel the project than to try and release it. Yeah, Isaac's saying in the chat, like, I seen people posting it, it was so funny, like, Batgirl isn't even good enough to be dropped on HBO Max apparently, whereas Sony's over here and releasing the worst superhero movie since Van Forstic twice in theaters, and I'm like, very
the
different.
The second release was a meme release. They memed themselves.
But yeah, like Isaac, like you're saying, it's like, if it was still filming and if the movie was still being made and they felt like it wasn't, and there was a whole bunch of stuff saying like that the screening and stuff hadn't gone well and that people weren't responding well to it, which you think DC would be used to at this point, personally. But it's like, it's in post-production. Why not just drop it? You put all this money in it. Is it really going to cost that much money to drop it on your streaming service? Like, really? Surely it's like...
I mean, look, just to be super fair, I wasn't really super pumped about this movie anyways, but this really sucks for everybody.
I wasn't overhyped for it or anything, but I wasn't against it or anything. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a check out. Like, I'm not a massive like Batgirl fan.
I was a huge Michael Keaton fan.
Yeah, Michael Keaton Batman in it, and I'm like, okay, I'll check it out, and I'll check out a Batgirl thing. Batgirl can be cool. I'm still a proponent of, I prefer her as Oracle. I always think taking Barbara Gordon back to being Batgirl just undone a massive great character moment. Personally for me, so like, I've always kind of been a bit iffy on that, but yeah, it sucks that they found out that way, especially since the actress was like really into it and really loved being in the role, and you see her in the Batgirl outfit visiting sick kids and all this sort of stuff. Like, they were really playing into it. I was getting very Henry Cavill vibes from it. Of like, this actress really wants to play this role and she's not allowed to.
Yeah.
I was getting very Henry Cavill vibes from it. Of like, what do I have to do to prove myself here, sort of thing. And obviously, I've not seen the movie. Obviously, we weren't in the press screenings. I can't say anything about the early screenings and what it looked like or anything like that.
So apparently, people were saying it got canceled because it did poor in the press screenings. My understanding, based off what I'm reading, is Black Adam is hitting the same marks as Batgirl hit as far as like levels and the way people liked it. So that's not it. There's no
but
way.
The Rock's in that. But The Rock's in that, so they're never going to cancel that.
I agree 100%. One thing.
No. Was... The one that gets me. This is cancelled, even though all the people are involved in it, all the people are excited to make it, all the people are hyped for it.
I know where you're going.
But yet The Flash is still coming out.
And you got the lead actor running around holding people hostage.
I don't know if Ezra Miller could legitimately do anything else to show that this should be cancelled. But yet we're still going ahead with it.
I forgot what the exact verbiage was. The Flash is still in good hands, or something dumb like that.
Yeah, because there was rumours about the fact of like it's not going to go forward and all this sort of stuff, and then they've came out and confirmed, oh no, we're doing this. And I'm like, really? This is the one you're going forward with? And then like it was a couple of days later. The reasoning behind it apparently was officially announced was because Warner Brothers Discovery, because Discovery took over the production with Warner Brothers and DC and all that stuff from AT&T, which, and you're in retrospect to that, like, that should be a good thing, because AT&T is a communication company. Why the hell are they making movies? Actually having people who do like TV and big productions and all that like involved in it. Ezra Miller is the real life villain right now. While this movie is still like, oh, absolutely.
I'm calling, if they release that movie, it's gonna absolutely bomb.
It's going to bomb.
No
I
question.
kind of want, like, I know we review the movies and stuff like here, so we probably have to see it. But part of me is like, I kind of want to boycott it just to prove a point. Like, honestly, but like, it came out that Warner Brothers Discovery were reshuffling DC. We're I can't even get through this with a straight face. We're changing it, so we're not the DCEU anymore. We're going to have DC Studios.
Sound familiar?
When did Man of Steel come out? Was it 2013? 2012?
2012, 2013.
So the DCEU has essentially been in place for 10 years.
Yeah.
It took them 10 years to come up with DC Studios. First of all, like, really? Marvel Studios had that like their first freaking movie. It took you 10 years to come up with DC Studios as a production company name? Okay. And announced that they were reshuffling for DC because they wanted to protect the brand, they wanted to elevate the brand, and they didn't want to release anything that was subpar.
Really?
Sounds amazing. I mean, like, yes, that's what you should be doing. And that they were putting in a 10-year plan to build up in a similar fashion of what Kevin Feige did with the people over at Disney to create the MCU. So essentially what we've been shouting for 2 years.
I was gonna say, do you remember one of the first streams that we had?
Yeah.
Do you remember what I'm gonna say?
Yeah. Go on, say it again, go on.
No, what would your plan be for the DCEU for the next like 10 years? That was legitimately our stream, one of our first streams, our first year doing this.
We
had
literally
some ideas.
We literally pitched it. I mean, we went hard on that, by the way. Go back and watch that episode. Like, it's way back at the beginning. I know I said earlier on, like, during the pre-show, like, it's cringe stuff, but, like, no, we went hard. We did our research. We reviewed the DCEU as it stood at the time, and we did our research on, like, what would you do? How would you bring in Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and all that stuff? And we went hard.
We went hard.
We went hard with our research.
Yeah.
We pitched hard for that, and it's like, and they're doing a 10-year plan, which I'm not against. They should be having a 10-year plan if they're building up. But this isn't the first time they've talked about a 10-year plan. In fact, if they'd stuck to the 10-year plan when Man of Steel came out, we would be at the end of it.
Yep.
At this point. They've wasted 10 years. And you know why? And I can freaking pick the exact point. 2013 Man of Steel releases. Okay? Henry Cavill as Superman. I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't enjoy the movie, you have to admit Henry Cavill was a freaking...
He is Superman. He's great.
That was like... You could not have picked a better casting choice than Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
Especially to launch something further.
He's charismatic.
And there was rumblings.
Handsome.
There was rumblings of stuff happening. But the thing is, nothing was in place yet. Because Marvel was on a full roll at this point. Marvel was on a full roll.
Because Avengers had already come out the year before.
Well, that's it. They were leading up to Avengers, and at this point, before Avengers, DC must be looking at them, oh, they're the new thing, that's why these movies are getting over, it's okay, it'll die out. Because DC was still making good money. Like, Batman's still a big money maker for them. They were about to relaunch Man of Steel and relaunch Superman after Superman Returns bombed. But then, like, Man of Steel was already in the post-production stuff in 2012. And in 2012, Avengers dropped. And it's still to this day one of the top 10 earning movies. 10 years later. You know what I mean? And its sequels are also joining it. Apart from Age of Ultron, all the Avengers movies are in the top 10 highest grossing movies ever.
Yep.
I think honestly DC saw that and went, crap, we need to get money like that. Because out of nowhere, after like Man of Steel coming out and nothing for such a long time, they announced the DCEU.
Yeah.
They announced 50 billion projects. And what was the next movie that came out as part of the DCEU?
Batman versus Superman.
Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Because they had to have a team up.
Of course.
And then, of course, the trailer showed Wonder Woman's in this as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fighting Lex Luthor. And, there's Doomsday. They were cramming everything possible into this because they wanted Avengers money. Yep. And the honest truth is, they didn't have a roadmap. They were making it up as they went along.
Yep.
And it freaking showed.
Yeah.
Because, like, the proof, like, okay, Batman v Superman, as far as I'm concerned, is a disaster of a movie. Like, I know there's people out there that love it. I am not one of them, and I will die in that hill that it's horribly put together.
I will say the director's cut is substantially better than the theatrical version.
Oh yeah,
but it's still a bad movie.
It's still badly put together though, and it's still got, like, even the stuff like the Flash stuff. We're trying to hint that there's something coming, and it's like, but you can feel that they were just kind of cramming stuff together.
Yeah.
And the studio didn't know what they were doing, and that was proven with Justice League, because we just recently obviously got Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it was amazingly better.
Mm-hmm.
But at San Diego Comic-Con, we got the official confirmation that they are not moving forward with the Zack Snyder universe.
Yeah, they could put the kibosh on that.
But the thing is, now it's like, but they honestly just don't know what they're doing. Because now we're setting up a new 10-year plan. But we've still got other stuff going on, like the Suicide Squad dropped and was a hit. Peacemaker happened. Apparently James Gunn said the sequel's still on the cards to go. The Flash is still apparently happening. Aquaman 2 is not only happening, but they have confirmed freaking Ben Affleck's Batman to be appearing in that, who had stepped away from the role, had walked away from it, and then came back for the Flash. And he's coming back for Aquaman, and it's like, but wait, so now you're doing this stuff, and we've got Robert Pattinson's Batman over here doing something completely different.
Yeah.
We dropped an announcement for Joker 2 happening with Lady Gaga in it, not officially confirmed, but likely playing Harley Quinn.
Which is a musical.
Because of course it is. Which you could play that off actually really well if it's just literally his demented mind going that way. Like, there's a way to play that.
My simple brain, when I hear like Joker 2 is going to be a musical, I'm like,
yeah. It's like, but that's the thing, but they don't have an idea. And then it's like, but this stuff's going forward, and then this stuff isn't going forward, and then, oh wait, we're starting this brand new thing to elevate this stuff, and it's like, well, what's going forward and what's not? And like, the reports are as well, like Supergirl movie that was meant to tie into it all is basically cancelled and isn't going forward. Honestly, it's still up in the air if we're going to see Blue Beetle. Which is like,
everybody's saying, if y'all cancel that, I'll burn this place down.
Yeah, it's like, if you cancel Blue Beetle, I am coming for you. Like, this movie better freaking come out. You have no idea how long I've waited for a Blue Beetle movie. This better come out. And it's a kid, what's his name? I've lost his name. The kid for freaking Cobra Kai that's playing Jaime Reyes, and I'm like, dude, this is like perfect. Don't you freaking touch this. But that's the thing, they don't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They've announced this 10-year plan, they've announced DC Studios, and it's like, this is perfect. This is exactly. But at the same time, there's not a clean slate. Let me ask you that, what has actually changed?
Nothing. I mean, they're still doing, it's basically they're doing one-offs. Like, I think the most interconnected that the universe ever was, and it was barely, at that, was when they released Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Batman versus Superman, the Justice League, all that stuff. That was when it was kind of like, we're kind of doing it, maybe. And you and I have said from the very, very beginning with all this DC crap, since we started this, that obviously them not having a 10-year plan is huge, but I think them not having a Kevin Feige is bigger, because you don't have someone. I saw somebody write this online the other day. Kevin Feige loves the characters. Like, he loves all of the characters that are in the movies. Like, he breathes the stuff. He's been working on this stuff since the original X-Men movies, like way back in the day, like early 2000s, late 90s, that stuff. He's been working on these movies since then. He's almost has a 30-year career in comic book movies. He loves this stuff. You need someone on the DC front who loves it almost or as much as Kevin Feige does in order to have that legitimate 10-year plan. And I know a lot of people don't like his style, and I know a lot of people don't like him as a director, but I feel like we got a taste of that with Zack Snyder, in my opinion. I feel like we got a taste of that, what it could be like.
The problem was they weren't willing to commit to it, though.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
Like it would have been a very different take, and not everybody is a fan of Zack Snyder's style. Which, don't get me wrong, like I've watched Zack Snyder stuff and I've went, oh, that's really cool, and then I've also watched the other Zack Snyder stuff and went, this is utter crap and makes no sense.
When I watched the Snyder Cut Justice League, I was like, this is really good.
This is what we could have been. Like, I'd love to have seen where that went.
It's tonally different from the MCU, right? Would you agree? Like, it is. I think it's visually and tonally different enough from the MCU for it to be its own thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It was absolutely its own thing. It was its own tone, its own style. It was a little bit darker, a little bit grittier, but at the same time, it's like it held itself well. Like, there was great character moments. Like, we got great character moments with Cyborg. We got a good bit of Henry Cavill Superman's personality coming through, which they removed from the original release of it. Like, there was a lot of great stuff in there, and it's like the problem is that they just didn't want to commit to it. The freaking company, Warner Brothers, just messed with it.
I think the biggest thing that they need to do is get someone with a big personality. I have someone in mind. Get someone with a big personality. Get someone that loves the source material, and get them in a room with a bunch of creatives for DC and come together with a legitimate 10-year plan and stick with it. Right now, I think their best choice, in my opinion, and I know this might be like, what? But I think their best choice is The Rock. And I say that for a couple of different reasons. He knows the industry. He knows how to make movies. He loves at least some of the source material. And I feel like he's a charismatic person enough. He's charismatic enough to to be the face of the DC studios and push that. I feel like he would be the best choice right now because Jim Lee's not going to do it. Hamada is in some stuff. People don't really like him. Walter Hamada, I believe is his name. I think Jeff Johns, same thing. So I think having The Rock be the face of that, the DC Studios portion, I think will be a really, really good move for them because he seems to really like the characters. I don't know. That's just me just talking out my butt. But
in terms of The Rock, though, like he would be a good one to get behind because like he's universally loved.
Yeah, exactly.
He's one of those guys that's universally loved that you can get behind.
Same thing with Kevin Feige.
Black Adam actually looks like a decent movie as well. The thing is, like, you wouldn't just be building it around The Rock, though. You'd be building it around Black Adam, and I don't know how you go forward with a DC universe with Black Adam as your star. Kind of like I was saying, like if you are holding on to the interconnectivity, like just go with Snyder. You know, don't like everything he's done, absolutely, but like, at least it's consistent. Let him have his vision and wrap it up because them messing with it is just screwed everything over.
Yeah.
Because like the thing that gets me is that nothing has changed. Because they basically done a DC Studios, we're going to have a 10-year plan and we're going to do this, and it's like, let me ask you then. It sounds like clean slate is essentially what it sounds like. Okay, would you agree that's essentially what the pitch sounds like when they say they're doing a 10-year plan, they're going to do similar to what Kevin Feige did? Is The Flash still coming out?
Yeah.
Shazam still coming out? Is Black Adam still coming out? Is Peacemaker Season 2 still coming out? Is Joker 2 still coming out?
Yep. Rob in chat said DC is too much of a cluster to fix. You have to begin anew, which they don't do because they get mild success in certain films when others bomb. I agree. I didn't mean to cut you off, dude. Sorry.
No, absolutely. But that's the point I'm leading to, though. Like, Joker 2 is still happening. Yeah. It's like, is the Batman 2 still happening? Yeah. That's 6 projects I've named off the top of my head. And it's not even... Oh, sorry, Aquaman 2 as well. 7. 7 projects off the top of my head that are officially still moving forward, that we've got confirmation essentially are still moving forward. Yeah?
That are from the pre-10-year plan phase.
But that's not the only thing, though. It's not even just like, okay, we're going to clean slate and we're going to like bring in new actors, so we'll keep the Flash and Aquaman, but we'll bring in new actors for this.
Yeah.
You've got previous DCEU stuff, connected universe stuff with Flash, with Aquaman, with all of that stuff, with even with the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker and all that is all connected because they showed up at the freaking end of Peacemaker, so it's part of that universe.
Well, Cavill didn't. Sorry.
That's a whole other thing. You have the perfect Superman who is begging for a movie and you won't give it to him. Screw you. But like all this DCEU stuff is still going on, and then over here you still have the Batman, which is separate from this because they've still got Ben Affleck. Not just like he is still showing up for it.
Yeah.
And you've still got Robert Pattinson's Batman, and then over here you've still got Joker, which is separate from both of them. You're literally announcing a 10-year start to this build-up for DC Studios, but you still can't be like all on the same page. You've still got at least 3 universes happening.
Yeah.
On the stuff that you've confirmed are still coming out.
Yep.
And then if you start brand new again, you're just going to muddy the waters with a 4th universe.
Yeah, you're going to lose your audience.
Like, you could very easily, okay, Joker's its own thing, you could put that over there, scrap the DCEU stuff, start this new universe. The Batman was the kickoff. That is like universally loved as one of the greatest Batman movies to come out. Freaking run with that. There is nothing that happened in that you could not build the rest of the DC universe into.
Agreed.
Run with that. The Flash, why are you so sticking to this project? Ezra Miller is bringing down Warner Brothers in flames at the minute.
Yeah, yep.
Cut him off.
Yep.
Does anyone even remember that the Aquaman movie's coming out? Because I keep forgetting about it, except for the fact that people were talking during the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial that, hey, she still works for Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
When they fired him. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, does it really need to happen? And then Black Adam and Shazam, they're pretty much done, so release them. But like, and that's over.
Yeah.
And just, this is it. 2023, we're going to wrap up all the DCEU stuff, the last of the movies to come out, and move forward.
I want to hit chat a little bit.
Go for it. Sorry, I was on a full rant there. Go for it.
That's why I let you go. So Isaac said DC isn't in as much of a mess as Sony, so I guess they have that. Rob said I have no love for DC movies, but I do think there's an opportunity if they think long term, like you guys are saying. I think actually Marvel's news stories may struggle a bit. I agree 100%.
Yeah, this is the perfect time to capitalize on it because Phase 4's been struggling.
Yeah,
hit hard, and I'm like,
well, and we've talked about this a handful of times. Marvel right now is trying to do too much, and the quality is suffering. Where DC should, if they're starting over, have the opposite problem. Can
you imagine if DC
build a really good foundation?
Can you imagine if DC had came forward with this 10-year plan idea at San Diego Comic-Con and announced it and went, boom, this is where we're going?
Yeah.
Instead, they laid back and went, we're not going to announce anything, and Marvel came in and went, oh, here's what's coming for us. Aha!
And this isn't even our big announcement. We got D23 coming up. We'll just drop some nuggets here. Rob said Aquaman could have been awesome if they had done it like Logan. Aquaman,
that could have been good.
If they
done it in a Logan style, that could have been really interesting. Actually,
the thing was, like, if you look at the costuming, I know we're kind of getting off track here a little bit, but if you look at the costuming in the DC movies, they do a really, really good job. Like, I in my opinion, I think that costuming in Aquaman is probably one of the best in any DC movie. Like, you look at his final Aquaman costume, that is legitimately pulled right out of comics, and it looks fantastic.
Oh yeah, the costume looks great out of it. I still stand by, I think it looks weird on Jason Momoa.
Do you really?
Like that scene where that's always shown of him coming out of the waterfall and him standing there, and I'm like, dude, you look so not in the right place. You know what I mean? He's like the freaking, he's like the hobo that tries to put on a suit and walk into a nice party, and I'm like, it just looks so out of place, and I'm like, you're such a cool dude, there's rocker type look to you. Yeah. We're going to put you in the orange and the green, and I'm like, I get it's the freaking look of him, and I love Aquaman's look, I'm fine with it. I don't think it fits him, at all.
Yeah, Isaac said if they go full wipe, it's going to take another 10 plus years to rebuild a connected universe. Agreed. I don't think people will still be interested in that point. I agree. I mean, in my opinion, and I said this on Twitter, not that anybody follows me or anything, but I feel like it's just it's way too late in order for them to start over.
Oh yeah, it's way too late to start over. But I guess my point is the fact that if you're literally announcing a 10-year plan, at least freaking commit to it.
Yeah. Because like you said,
they're
they've
literally doing what they've
started
always
it, like,
done.
great time.
It's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like, we're going to start this 10-year plan, but we don't want to let go of all this stuff over here because it's kind of making us money.
Yeah.
Like, commit to the Batman, commit to Joker. Those are like guaranteed paydays.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I don't care how much production's on it. I don't care the fact that Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton are both set to appear in it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how good the audience responses have been at test screenings. The Flash is a risk that is going to lose you money in the long run.
Yep.
100%. It's like, it's not worth it. Aquaman, just put it out. It's pretty much done. You know, it's like same with like Shazam, same with Black Adam. They're done. Just drop them. But like, have that be your cutoff. It's like they just can't still decide. Like, you're planning a DC Studios and a 10-year plan, and you still can't freaking decide what you actually want.
Well, and there's this news about Cavill. Like, there's this news that dropped this weekend about Cavill. Like, is he, like, we don't know if he's going to do it. Because, like, apparently they've asked him if he would reprise his role, and he doesn't want to do it.
Well, yeah, because he's been
blame him.
Because he's been shouting at them since when did Justice League come out? He's been whenever Justice League came out, was it 2015, 2016?
Something like that, yeah.
So, like, what, for 5, 6, 7 years he has been shouting at them, make me Superman again.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even let him cameo in the first Shazam movie. At that very end scene, they have a freaking Superman suit walk in for here down. Like, just let him do it. He wants to do it. Just let him do it.
So dumb. That says no one likes Ezra Miller.
No.
Aquaman is a dark, troubled character fighting about what world he wants to side with. Has Warner Brothers said anything official about cancellations, or still just rumors? So, Batgirl's officially canceled. I think
Batgirl's cancelled, and Supergirl is officially cancelled at this point.
Yeah. Flash is still a go, apparently.
Yeah, Flash has been confirmed to still be coming out. James Gunn has confirmed that Peacemaker Season 2 is still moving forwards.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, every other property is still kind of up in the air of whether it's officially happening or not. Like, Black Adam is going to happen, so Shazam. They've dropped trailers for those, so I don't see them backing out of those. But everything else is pretty up in the air at the moment.
Yeah. Apparently, Cavill had COVID on the Witcher set. That's why he wasn't at SDCC.
That makes sense.
Got to give props to Marvel and Disney, keeping their actors happy until they were done with them. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like they knew what they were doing. They kept their actors happy, and they also kept their actors on a freaking contract until they were done with them.
Well, yeah, and they built a community around it. Like, you look at the first Avengers, like, you know, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, Mark Ruffalo, who else?
Chris Evans, Chris
Hemsworth. They were tight. They were a tight team.
Yeah, they all did they all like Fellowship of the Ring did and got like matching tattoos and stuff like that of like because they were the original Avengers team, and
Disney built that. Like, Disney and Marvel, they built that. They built that camaraderie, and it shows on screen. Even though like Avengers is not my favorite Marvel movie, you know, you can see that chemistry that they have in that movie, like legitimate chemistry.
Yeah, there is, like, it's believable, and it's like, whereas like freaking DCU Justice League is like, Batman doesn't want to be there. Superman wants to be there, but they won't let him. Flash is too busy breaking into people's houses and threatening people. Aquaman's just kind of off to the side doing his own thing, and Wonder Woman is kind of like non-existent now because of how hard freaking Wonder Woman 84 bombed.
Yeah, that was bad.
It was a really bad movie. It's a really bad movie.
And I'll be honest, I own the first Wonder Woman. It's decent. It's a decent movie, especially when she goes down at No Man's Land. That one scene that everybody talks about. It's a good scene.
Yeah.
But the clips from Zack Snyder's Justice League and Shazam 2 trailer are surprising. I didn't see that, actually. I actually have not seen the Shazam 2 trailer. Affleck back as Batman and Cavill as Superman. I wouldn't be mad. Do you think actors right now are as excited to do superhero films, or are they preferring to go indie and darker like The Witcher and like in the comics, the Mark Miller line of comics? I don't know, man. I feel like there's a lot of people that are clamoring to be in specifically Marvel movies. I hear like every week this actor actress wants to be in a Marvel.
Yeah, I think Marvel's like its own property at this point, and people still want to be involved in it. It's like, I don't know. Part of me kind of feels like maybe it's like the buzz is kind of dying for it a little bit. It's like I felt like there was a lot more hype around it. It's like San Diego Comic-Con was a start of like bringing back that hype, but
I mean, speaking of like actors wanting to be in the roles, I don't want to switch topics, but I want to touch on this real quick. So, Giancarlo Esposito, who's well known for being the villain in Breaking Bad, Gus Fring, and being on a couple other shows as well, phenomenal actor. Kind of came out this week, and he was teasing that he met with Marvel, and he mentioned a handful of roles, but one specifically that he really wanted to do as Professor X, which would be sweet. But he also mentioned Magneto, Doctor Freeze, which I don't know if he was confused, but Doctor Freeze and then Doctor Doom as well. But I could absolutely see him as Professor X.
I don't know if I can. I don't know
I
if
can
I
see
can
him
see
as
him in
Professor
that.
X more than I can see him as Doctor Doom. Let me just put it
Oh,
that way.
100%. Like him as Doctor Doom casting is awful casting.
It's
It's like
awful. Yeah.
I don't think he's got the presence to a certain extent with the intimidating voice a little bit, but I
Yeah.
just don't think he's going to carry Doom the right way.
Mm-mm.
But I don't know. Maybe he'd be good as Professor X. I don't know if I can see him doing it though. It's just. But then again, maybe I'm just used to seeing him play the villain so often.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
weird thinking of him being one of the heroes. He plays the bad guy so well.
Somebody did a concept image of him as DC's Doctor Freeze, and dude, it looks sweet. Like I could absolutely see him as Doctor Freeze,
That'd be an interesting thing.
Mister Freeze, not Doctor Freeze.
Yeah,
Mr.
him as Mr. Freeze would be interesting. But yeah, so do we want to shift over to the Marvel stuff then? Because there are a lot of Marvel topics and Marvel
Yeah.
rumors and different things like that. Because
All right.
I think that's the most part of the DC. Is there anything like to wrap up the DC Studios talk before we change over?
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's anything else to fully cover.
The next 2 years are going to be very telling for DC and what they do. I think the number one step that they need to do is hire someone to be in charge of everything. Someone with charisma, someone who actually enjoys comics and the comic characters. To leave that off.
There was one more DC thing that kind of was announced that it's not totally related to this, but before we move over to the Marvel side of things, it was announced that next year, 2023, season 9 of The Flash in the CW is going to be the final season. The Flash is officially finishing on season 9 next year. That'll make it the last of the main universe Arrowverse shows to finally stop. Because Supergirl's done, Arrow's done, Black Lightning's done. The only ones that are left standing, Naomi's done after a season. Legends of Tomorrow's done. The only ones left standing now are Superman and Lois and Stargirl for the CW, which both of them are on different worlds than the main universe that Flash and Arrow were set.
Yeah.
So that universe is officially coming to an end now, and the Flash after 9 seasons is officially stopping.
I bet Grant Austin is like, thank the Lord.
And I saw something that was really funny of, was it just before or just after the premiere of the Flash TV show? They announced the Flash movie with Ezra Miller, and its release date is basically set after the finale of the Flash show. This show has started, ran for 9 seasons, and is finishing before this freaking movie is dropping. But it was just an interesting thing to announce because I think you and I haven't been keeping up anything of the shows.
I definitely haven't.
You've never been a big fan of them. I gave most of the Arrowverse stuff up until Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then it literally felt like a slog, the thought of actually trying to get back into it, and I'm like, no, I think I'm done.
Yeah, to be super blunt, I probably have not seen 90% of the that stuff.
It's probably for the best, to be honest.
I will say, I saw the first 2 seasons of Flash, and I thought it was good. It was good.
First couple of seasons were decent. It's really good. Grant Gustin was a good Flash.
I wasn't a huge fan of Arrow, so I didn't really watch that. But I thought the Flash was good, man. I thought Grant Austin was awesome. It did get a little repetitive as far as the villains, but the CGI for a freaking WB show or whatever it is, CW rather.
Yeah.
CGI was incredible. Shark and Gorilla Grodd, they were great.
Yeah, considering it was a TV show on the CW, they actually pulled off some really good stuff. They don't have budgets for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
To catch up with chat a little bit, Isaac saying my hype was dying for sure until San Diego Comic-Con 2022. Gives me hope for the future of superhero movie genre. Absolutely, I think Phase 5 and 6 of Marvel look phenomenal, and I think we could be back on to a good winner here. Locke saying I quit watching all of them back when Arrow was still on like season 5 or 6. Like, yeah, I wasn't on it that much longer after it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Grant Gustin should be the only choice for the movie Flash. Like, yeah, I still stand by that. Grant Gustin did a great job. He'd have been great to do an interconnected universe with and have him be the Flash, but sadly it was not meant to be. Hey, Archie Babel Nerd, welcome on in.
What's up, man?
Flash was a good show. It was initially. The initial part of the Flash was really good. Afterwards, it became too CW-y.
Yeah. Yep. That's a good adjective. CW-y.
See, if you say a show is like something that should be on the CW, everyone knows what you mean.
Yeah, they know exactly.
They know what you mean when you say that, and it's like,
yeah,
why DC like started putting their shows out on there? I don't know. I think it was just to try and get that younger teen kind of audience, but
yeah.
As I said, first few seasons of Arrow and The Flash were pretty good. I feel like one of the drawbacks for the CW shows that they just kept creating drama, and they just kept creating drama for the whole purpose of keeping the shows going. Absolutely. Straighten your back, not that, Adam. I will do indeed. Oh, shoulders and neck popped.
But yeah, like, I guess I don't have anything else for DC, so if we want to like drop into
so I think that's it for the DC stuff. If anyone else has got it, please throw stuff in chat. We absolutely love to keep the conversation going with that. We're going to jump over to some of the Marvel conversations.
One quick hit, real quick, before we get into She-Hulk, because I definitely want to talk about She-Hulk. So they dropped a bit of casting news for Fantastic Four, which I don't know if you missed this or not.
Oh, I have not heard this.
Mr. Jamie Dornan of 50 Shades of Grey fame. He
I won't hold that against him.
possibly set to play the Beyonder.
The Beyonder?
The Beyonder. So from 1984's Secret War, which I have not read yet. But yeah, so that I didn't read the whole article, but it was basically borderline confirmed, I guess, at least based off what I saw. Oh. And he's going to be playing the Beyonder. So I was like, oh, that's cool.
That could be interesting. That makes it really intriguing for where they're going. With where they're going to be going with the Fantastic Four, if the Beyonder's getting in. But it makes sense that the Beyonder would be someone getting cast if they're going for Secret Wars. Like, he could be a factor in that. Because the first Secret Wars he was part of. And they're probably going to do a kind of merger of the both.
He was good in Once Upon a Time.
Oh, that's right. He was in Once Upon a Time. He played the Huntsman, didn't he? He's like gone after season 1 or 2. I completely forgot. Same as what's his face. Sebastian Stan was also in Once Upon a Time for the first season.
Dude, Gus Fring, good grief. Giancarlo was in Once Upon a Time too. He was the Magic Mirror, dude.
So he is.
Yeah.
Phenomenal cast. I love Once Upon a Time, except the last season. It should have ended. The second last season should have been the ending. They went, we're going to kind of reboot it, and I'm like, no.
I'm not exaggerating. My wife loves that show, okay? But I'm not exaggerating. That show has the worst CGI I have ever seen in my life. There's no question.
It wasn't as bad in the beginning, and I think because in the beginning you kind of accept that it's not going to have amazing CGI. And then as the show went on, you're like, come on, you've got a better budget than this. You're ABC, you're a Disney-owned thing.
It's so bad. It's so bad. Everything that uses special effects is just so incredibly bad.
I do want to catch a couple of things here in chat as well. Yes, ads. Manu Bennett as Slade Wilson was phenomenal. I thought that was great casting for him. He was really good as Deathstroke. Manu Bennett, he played Deathstroke in the Arrowverse, like in Arrow and stuff, and he was really good in that. He was the big bad in Arrow season 2.
I like the guy who played him in what's it called? What's the one on HBO Max called? Titans.
On Titans?
Dude who plays,
he was cool.
and Titan. Dude, he was
good at that. Isaac is well saying the news for Gotham Knights. So I want to address this because I meant to mention it as well.
Alright.
Gotham Knights in the CW, there was a post that went out that this had been cancelled. The internet erupted in elation.
They did, legitimately.
This started getting shared everywhere. To the point of, like, everyone thought it was cancelled until they literally had to, like, the guy came out and said, like, look, he was saying, it didn't even make sense what he said. He said, like, oh, I was saying, yeah, it was cancelled in response to all these other yeses, so I thought it was actually happening. And it's like, didn't want to check your source or anything, okay.
Oh my gosh.
But like basically, it has not been confirmed as cancelled.
I didn't realize we had so many Once Upon a Time fans. In this.
Yeah, I'm gonna say everyone's
Man, it
popping
is
off.
popping off. Sheesh.
Right up until the Frozen stuff. Yeah, the Frozen stuff felt very pushed on it, Locke, because it was clear that it wasn't like drawing from, like, obviously there was a lot of Disney influence, but as soon as like Frozen stuff showed up, you're like, well, it's clearly Disney now because that's that's specifically a Disney property. Basically need to do a freaking Once Upon a Time episode at some point, which I'm all for. I love Once Upon a Time.
We got to get Joey on there for it. So.
Yeah, I love the Once Upon a Time stuff. Like the last season was like completely not worth it because everybody was gone apart from like 2 of the original actors, and it didn't make sense. It's like you should have just stopped. But yeah, it's like Rumpelstiltskin was a great character from Rumpelstiltskin. I will die on a hill. He was a phenomenal character. Freaking Robert Carlyle as Rumpelstiltskin in Once Upon a Time is like some of the best villain casting ever. He was amazing. But what are you biting your hand about? Don't even say it.
I'm not. I'm good. I'm not saying anything.
Thanks for the lurk, Isaac. You disagree,
yeah,
don't
Marvel?
you? You got that look in your
Marvel?
face there.
Marvel. Hey, I've lost enough geek cred. I'm not going any step. I'm not taking another step further. So I feel like we should just transition already.
Yeah, thank you. See, Locke backs me up here. Locke getting his shoe in here as a replacement on the show, apparently.
Hey, man, you like what you like.
And you don't like...
As my Mimo would say, bless your soul.
It's like, you like what you like, and you don't like things that are going to get you crucified by the comic book community. Let's transition to Marvel before Nitro sticks his foot in his mouth again.
Let's do it.
So yeah, there was a bunch of announcements. I'm trying to think of. Sorry, I'm watching chat run by there. I was like trying to think of the one to start with. So do we want to?
Let's do She-Hulk.
Do we want to start with the She-Hulk stuff?
Let's do She-Hulk first.
So let's start off with like the. We got the trailer for She-Hulk.
Let's go back to the first trailer though.
Oh, I
think we need to set some context.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Let's go back to the first trailer then.
All right. So the first trailer dropped maybe a couple. We say a couple months ago or a month ago.
Yeah, it was a little while ago now.
Universally panned for just awful CGI. I mean, the CGI was pretty bad in the trailer. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
There were screenshots comparing it to like the Goombas from the Super Mario movie back in the day.
It didn't look good. It looked like she was deathly ill.
Yeah.
She had she didn't have a green hue about her as if she was a Hulk. She had a green hue about her as if she was really, really sick.
It had that uncanny valley, like, are they looking at me? Their mouth is not moving when they're talking type thing. It had nothing to do with the fact that the main character is a woman. Nothing at all.
Oh no,
CGI
absolutely not.
Bad. So they released the second trailer over, I think, this week. I think CGI is notably improved. Improved.
Doesn't mean it's good.
That doesn't mean it's good. Correct. And there was still some parts.
It's better. That doesn't mean it's okay.
There were still some parts in the trailer where we were like, "Get." So the director came out this week and said, in terms of CGI being critiqued, I do think that has to do with our culture's belief in the ownership of women's bodies. I think a lot of the critique comes from the feeling that they're able to tear apart a CGI woman. There's a lot of talk about her body type.
Keep going. Give me 1 sec. You keep chatting. Keep telling them.
There's a lot of talk about her body type, and we based her a lot on Olympian athletes and not bodybuilders. But I think if we'd gone the other way, we would be facing the same critique. I need everybody in chat. I need everybody in chat to go to Google and type in red herring definition. Okay, red herring definition. I'm gonna pull it up for you so you don't have to do that. Okay.
What's going on? What we do?
Hold on. We're looking at the definition for red herring. A red herring is something that misleads or detracts from the relevant or important question. It's basically changing the subtext of an argument. So the argument has nothing to do with her as a woman.
No one has ever said anything against the fact that CGI affected her as a woman. I'm like, she looks fine.
That was never the issue. The issue was the CGI sucked.
She looks like a big muscular woman, which is what She-Hulk's meant to look like.
Correct. And listen, I know there's some stuff out there about the Marvel CGI artists getting underpaid. Let's take that, as awful as that is, and set it over here to the side for a second. And we're not going to talk about that for a second. I understand that's an issue, and I'm not trying to minimize that. I'm actually just talking about what was presented to us and what the director is saying.
Yeah.
The CGI is not up to par, right? I mean, would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. On the standard of what...
You're basing your whole show on a CGI character.
Yeah.
It needs to be to a certain level at least. I'm not saying it has to be perfect, like Avengers Endgame, like Thanos level, but it needs to be up to a certain level where there's a suspension of disbelief, right?
But the thing is, it's not even a case of like a TV budget on it as well. That they're presenting it like it's part of the MCU and presenting it like there's no difference between these shows than the movies. Mm-hmm. It's like then you need to give them the budget of that, and it's like, and I know CGI is expensive, as chat's saying, but it's like this is Disney for Marvel. Marvel is basically your cash cow right now for Disney. Mm-hmm. It's one of your guaranteed cash cows. Freaking put some money into it then. Mm-hmm. Like, don't rest on your laurels, and don't give me the crap of like that as they don't have the money for it. Like, we talked about it. Look at the early stuff. The Iron Man suit in the early movies looked phenomenal, and it was mostly CGI. And that was like, what, nearly 15 years ago?
It's still one of the best suits, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You know, and it's like there's just something about it, and it's like Hulk's. I don't know if I'm just more used to Hulk's, but there was definitely something off with his a little bit as well. I didn't feel like it was as bad as hers though, but maybe that's just because we've seen Hulk for that long. So it's like needs to be at least to the level of Howard the Duck. But you know what I mean? It's like the CG is a problem. It is not about her body issues. She looks like, well, she's meant to. She looks like a big Amazonian type woman. She looks like a big like bodybuilding type female physique, and it's like that's what she's meant to look like. There's nothing wrong with her body type. She looks good in terms of the body shape. There's nothing off about it. You know what I mean? It's like
I have no problem with her, like, not that it matters, but the structure of her body. That was never the issue. The issue is literally here, in my opinion. The issue is literally here. Mm-hmm. Like you're looking at her, and she's supposed to be there, and it's just weird.
Which is weird because
it just looks weird.
It's bizarre because they use all that motion capture technology, like to capture the facial movement and expressions. It's so bizarre. Rob's saying it's like it creates an interesting problem. Not enough top tier CG artists to do all the TV shows, or the budget is so significantly smaller. They can't use the high priced guys that they're busy doing films anyway. Absolutely, which that's one of the things we talked about in one of our recent episodes when we done the review of Thor: Love and Thunder. We talked about Phase 4 and like, are they starting to spread themselves too thin? Yeah. We talked about the fact that Feige's starting to do it, and maybe that's affecting the quality of stuff, but maybe the rest of them are as well. If you've got like 11 freaking properties coming out in a year or two, like the CG artists that are doing the top tier stuff can't do all of that, so maybe they're trying to bring in people that they're not paying well enough, that are not getting enough time to put this stuff out.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it just wasn't good. Like, and the thing is, I know as well, I think that's the thing as well, is like there's nothing else to bounce it off of. Everyone's focused on the CGI, but that's because in the trailers there's not really a lot of stuff to say, well, at least the show's doing this. Literally all we've seen from the trailers is that she's being a lawyer, which we knew, and Bruce trying to kind of train her on her Hulk stuff, which apparently she doesn't need training in because she's freaking perfect at it and can outdo the Hulk, which I'm like, I don't think there's ever been a thing in the comics where like She-Hulk could outdo like a full-blown Hulk. You know what I mean? So I'm like, that was a little bit like, I felt like, and I'm not against her doing all this stuff. I'm not against her doing all the stuff she could do in the trailer. I'm just against the fact of like all of a sudden like Hulk seems to be incapable of doing this stuff. You literally had a whole thing in freaking Thor Ragnarok between him and Thor about who the strongest Avenger was. You know, it's like, but yeah, it's like it was weird.
Well, and you're also coming from our perspective as well. Like, I didn't know about the Hulk. I didn't know a lot about the Hulk when we started the stream, but you know, after a few square goes and learning about how powerful the Hulk was and some of his feats in the comics, he can destroy planets. Like, he is ridiculously OP. And I realize you need to tame that down for film and stuff like that. But, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's definitely an issue, Rob. In the comics industry, like, there's so many options out there, and like about half of them, if you're lucky, are worthwhile checking out.
Yeah.
You know. But the one thing I'm super hyped for that we're getting with She-Hulk, and let me bring up a picture of it because we got a picture.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know where you're going.
You all ready for this?
Let's do it.
Look at that costume. Daredevil is appearing 100% in She-Hulk.
Yellow and red.
In the old school yellow and red look. But if you look at the suit, it looks pretty much the same as his Netflix show one, just a colour variation on it. And I think it looks pretty sweet, actually.
Yeah.
This looks awesome. I'm gonna be watching She-Hulk for him. I am not making any qualms about it.
100%. I think when Daredevil Netflix came out, and we first got the reveal of the costume at the end of season 1, I was like, it's good. It's good, but I think the longer the show went on, I was like, okay, it's sweet. It's practical. It makes sense. I love it. I like that they're kind of keeping the design, but they're changing the color scheme. It looks so sweet.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I'm not gonna lie. I love the costume from it. You can even see it behind me over there. Like, I literally have a statue of Charlie Cox's Daredevil like on my shelf behind me. Like, I love Charlie Cox's Daredevil. I love the costume. I love all that stuff, and the fact that we've confirmed that he's not only now getting his own show, he's appearing in She-Hulk. So like, No Way Home wasn't just this one-off little thing. It's like it's literally.
I mean, he's universally loved as Daredevil.
Yeah, and then Rob says, "Well, Punisher should continue as well, like 10 years after the first 2 seasons from Netflix." Yeah, 100%. That's my next goal. Now that we've got Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio back in as their characters, like, my next pitch is like John Bernthal as Punisher.
Yeah.
Don't at me. He needs to come back. He was freaking perfect. He was amazing. I loved the Punisher show as well.
The only thing I want to see is
not that, Adam. If that is true, 100%, I will be one of the most hyped people in the world if Bernthal comes back for Thunderbolts. I will be so excited.
I want to see a street level story with Daredevil, Punisher, and Spider-Man going against Kingpin. I would love to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man against Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. I would love.
Hey, doors are wide open for that now because Spider-Man's basically been left with a blank slate after No Way Home, so maybe we'll see more of that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I still stand by it. One of the things I want to see in the MCU is Spider-Man facing off with Kingpin. Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin.
Yes.
I've been saying that for 2 years, and we might actually be getting it at some point soon. I'm like,
because that scene with Daredevil beating the brakes off of Kingpin at the end of Daredevil, when he's like screaming in his face
on season 3 in Kingpin's apartment, and he's just smashing into him and just letting loose. It's like the best things about it are the two of them going off each other, and the next best bit in Daredevil was him and John Bernthal, at least for the beginning of season 2. And the stuff with Daredevil and Punisher. It was so good. Like, that conversation on the rooftop when he's got him tied up is so good. Just talking to each other. They are their characters. Rocksteady's like basically the Defenders, but good. Yeah, pretty much. You want to see the MCU version of Marvel Knights, Nitro? Like, yeah, I think he does. I do as well. Like, I want to see the Marvel Knights come in. Why not? We're getting Black Knight and Blade and Ghost Rider starting to get rumored.
Ghost Rider.
Hands down, best convo of all time in Marvel. Yes.
Which, by the way, like, do you think they'll bring Danny Ketch or Johnny Blaze, or both, or what's the new one's name that was on?
Robbie Reyes.
Yeah.
Since. Because that's the thing, I don't know how much Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is considered canon now, because it was essentially almost like a write-off until they kind of started talking about bringing Chloe Bennett in.
Yeah.
To like Secret Invasion, which I'm kind of like, I really don't get why everybody's such a big fan of her. I get she's hot, but like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, literally, that's why she's so popular, because she's a hot chick.
I that character.
The character's not that exciting the way she plays
Yeah.
her. I wasn't that into it, but I'm like, it's like, oh yeah, she's a young hot woman, and it's like, and she does all the sexy posing on her social media. It's like, okay, why not?
No.
But like, they've done Robbie Reyes, so my worry is that they wouldn't go that path again. I would love to see, now that they're pushing for R-rated stuff because they have announced that Marvel Zombies will be like R-rated, it's mature. I would love to see a solo Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider series, but I would love to see Johnny Blaze in like a Marvel Knights, Midnight Suns sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Danny Ketch has got the iconic look from the comics, but I think Marvel, like Johnny Blaze is the bigger known name because of the previous like Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider movies.
Yeah.
And from the comics, Johnny he's like crossed over with other characters, he's crossed over with all this stuff. And the way that Marvel rehashes the comics a little bit, they've almost like rewrote it as Johnny Blaze is that version. So Danny Ketch has almost kind of been pushed out. So I think
that's the one that I grew up with.
Yeah, if we see someone crossing over, I have a feeling it'll be Johnny Blaze. But I love the Robbie Reyes stuff because I'm a big proponent, and I've always said it. I'm usually a big fan if someone tries to do something different. And I appreciated someone doing a Ghost Rider and try to do something different. It isn't just a guy in a leather jacket on a bike. It's like he's got a muscle car, which makes sense for the era it came out, and it was very Fast and the Furious era when that came out, and muscle cars were a big thing. And it's not the spirit of vengeance, it's like this evil spirit of his uncle and stuff that's inhabiting him, and it's a very different story, and I appreciate that. And then also Robbie Reyes is a very relatable character because of the stuff going on with his younger brother and him being sick and all that stuff. Like, I think that could be a really good solo series. And then incorporate Johnny Blaze into the crossover stuff. And that's just my take on it though, but I don't know what you think about bringing Ghost Rider in.
I don't know, like part of me is like, they have the Nicolas Cage, Johnny Blaze stuff. They have the Robbie Reyes stuff from S.H.I.E.L.D., which I think they're kind of like saying, yeah, we don't care about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, they're not really pulling anything from it.
No,
they've shared some stuff, but they're not really pulling anything from it.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has referenced the MCU a couple of times, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has never really referenced...
Yeah.
Like...
I think it would be a good opportunity for them to use the Ghost Rider character, but use somebody that the people don't really know, like Danny Ketch, because he was the Ghost Rider for a while, at least from what I remember, because I grew up with that version of him, and like to your point, I think Johnny Blaze kind of really took the place of him, and like it kind of rewrote that to like he is the Ghost Rider. He is Ghost Rider to a lot of people. But I think it'll be a cool opportunity for them to bring in a different version that not a lot of people know.
Absolutely.
You can kind of, what they've done in the past, they've taken backstory from this character and kind of put it into this character. You could take a little bit about, a little bit from Johnny Blaze, a little bit from the other Johnny Blaze, not Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider. I can't think of his name again. I just had it.
Danny Cage, Robbie Reyes.
Yeah, Robbie Reyes, that's it. And kind of put it into Danny Ketch, or like you said, Robbie Reyes. I think it's cool. I think the bike on fire is just an iconic thing that they're gonna keep.
It's an iconic thing I can see. I like the younger characters like Robbie Reyes and stuff, and them doing something different. And I think it could tell an interesting story, which I desperately think Marvel needs right now as a story to draw people in. Although, like Ad says, why not all three?
Right.
Let's have 3 Ghost Riders. We've got everything else. And he's asking, is the caretaker a Ghost Rider in the comics, or was that just in the film? I want to say there is an older Ghost Rider we meet at some point, but I don't know if it's specifically the caretaker. I think that might just be more of a thing for the film, but I'm not entirely sure. Ghost Rider isn't one of my deep dives that I'm totally aware of. Not that Adam's saying, okay, but hear me out. Nicolas Cage comes into the MCU as Mephisto.
I think they've already cast somebody as Mephisto in a
either that or they're just continuing to lead everybody on like they have been since WandaVision. And yeah, that scene, not that Adam from the comic of Punisher and Daredevil on the roof that they recreated in the show, like it's so freaking good. And look, I don't think it's part of that. I think it's more multiverse if anything. But like, I don't know, with them announcing Daisy Ridley coming into Secret Invasion possibly, and the talks of Chloe Bennett being part of it. It's like, I don't know what's what with that now. It's whatever. They'll do what they want to do with it, but
yeah, that'll be interesting. I don't know how we got on the Ghost Rider thing.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. It's kind of where everything's going.
I can't wait for Ghost Rider, man. It's so sweet.
Alright, so let me just check some of the other stuff from Marvel. I want to make sure I'm hitting everything. Oh, that's the one I was going to say. Moon Knight Season 2 may or may not be filming right now.
Why else would you be in Cairo?
That's according to Oscar Isaac. That's why they're in Cairo, because like he was asked, like the director, I completely forgot the director's name, but the director for Moon Knight and Oscar Isaac are both in Cairo, both doing stuff. And when asked like about Moon Knight Season 2, he said, "Why else would we be in Cairo?" The most confirmation, non-confirming way to say that ever. Like. But yeah, so it might be moving forward. We're getting hints at it. I mean, I think we all kind of knew that, or at least hoped it was going. Otherwise, that was a really bad way to end the first season.
I hope we get more of him in his costume beating the brakes off of supernatural creatures. That's what I'm hoping for. Have you heard anything about Werewolf by Night? I haven't heard any updates on that.
I've heard it's happening.
I've heard it's happening as well. Other than that,
and yes, look, I did say Daisy Ridley. I realised afterward I meant Daisy Johnson from the comics. I completely said Daisy Ridley. No idea why. That was where I went with that one, but there's a reason Bennett pulled out of the Powerpuff Girls. This is true. What did you think of Moon Knight? Have you guys seen been to San Diego Comic Con? Any plans to go some year just to present all the hype of the new stuff? 100%. I would love to go to San Diego Comic Con. Yeah. I do not have money to go to San Diego Comic Con to either buy a ticket, to buy a flight, to buy a hotel on its own, let alone all three.
Yeah, because like to fly out of where we are, you're looking at a minimum $300.
Yeah, we're like the other end of the country. Like,
to fly to California, forget about it.
Yeah, I think it's more realistic that at some point we're going to end up at New York Comic Con. I think there's a big plan for us to eventually do that, and because that's just like not that far from us. It's like just up the coast from us, and be able to do New York Comic Con.
Or we could do a Midwest Comic Con, Rob. Just saying, we could do it.
Yeah, Rob Sotz, who pictures came out of C2E2 of him with our good friend Daniel Hancock from Terminus Media.
What do we think of Moon Knight, though? I'll let you go, Cross, on that one.
Overall, I enjoyed Moon Knight. A lot of people like to give it a lot of hate, and I think I said this in the show like a few weeks ago as well. Like, I don't quite understand where all the hate came from, because when the show was coming out, everybody seemed to love it, and then all of a sudden this massive amount of hate hit it, and I'm like, I don't get why.
Yeah.
I don't even like there was none of this when the show was coming out to this extent. But I overall liked it. I don't think it was perfect, and I think it kind of missed the landing a little bit on the final episode, personally. But yeah, overall I enjoyed the show. Overall, I thought it was really cool. Done well.
I thought it was the best when he was in his costume and he was beating the brakes off of supernatural creatures. I did think Ethan Hawke was awesome.
Yes, 100%. Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke made that show.
Yeah, and I love Oscar Isaac. I think he's great. I would probably give that show like a 7 out of 10, 7.5 maybe. It wasn't perfect. But, yeah.
And yeah, absolutely adds. We need season 2 because we need to see more of Jake Lockley. 100%. We got glimpses of what he would do throughout it, and then saw him right at the end. So we need more of that. Isaac saying, I heard the report that Werewolf by Night will be a classic horror, like cheesy practical effects, possibly black and white. I'd be okay with that actually, because I'm always good for Marvel pushing boundaries and doing different things. So moving a bit more into the classic-y horror stuff, if it's done intentionally that way, could be interesting. Heard Werewolf by Night's theme song is going to be Who Let the Dogs Out by the Baha Men. I just had Daniel here for C2E2. You can stay with me next March.
Well.
Well, I guess I know where we're going in March.
Birthday? What? Birthday?
I was going to say, it's like, yeah, your birthday plans are cancelled, dude. We got bigger stuff now. You two put on your own Comic Con. It's like, I wish. I would love to put awesome. I'd love to put on our own Comic Con. I ain't got the money to do that, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would. I know you're not talking to me, but you keep saying Rob, and I keep getting confused. Okay, Locke, we have never, ever, in the 2 years I've known you, called you Rob.
Not once.
Never have I ever referred to you as Rob. I literally forget your name is Rob. You are just Locke. After which episode did all the hate come? Honestly, actually, I think all the hate came like right after it. It was after the show dropped, because a lot of people weren't happy with the finale, and I didn't think the finale was overly strong either. But it didn't come as just hate for the finale. It started becoming hate for the whole thing. And it was like, yeah, there's been none of this for the last 6 weeks, so I don't know what the heck they're talking about.
Yeah.
And hey Mallet, got a little shout out for you there. How are you doing? Sorry, I'm trying to go down chat. Chat is popping off today.
Dude, it really is.
Official invite. Alright, we're gonna hold you to that, Rob, man.
All right.
I guess I know where we're going. Yeah, your plans are literally cancelled, dude.
I can't cancel them, but I can try to add to them.
You're cancelled. They're cancelled now. Dude, you realise the offer in front of us? They're cancelled.
Oh, I know.
I know, that's why you're not talking. Alright, so we talked about the Midnight thing. Okay, one of the ones I've been waiting for, because I have a picture again for this one.
Uh-oh. You did prep. What
I
are you talking about? You don't take notes anymore. You prepped.
I got pictures because the visuals of these are needed.
Yeah.
I
need to set my game up.
This is a fan art based on concept art of MODOK for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I'm just gonna let that face sit there and look at you for a minute, because it's not real, Locke.
It's not real, but it's based off of what they saw in the trailer from Comic-Con. That's what.
This is a fan rendering based on the concept art of it, so it's based off of what they seen on the trailer that was released that we've not officially seen yet. I bring it up because we have to talk about it, because literally, kind of like with Gotham Knights, whether or not it's real or not, we have to at least address the floating head in the room.
Somebody said, it's bad when the Avengers game has a better MODOK than the Marvel movie.
Yeah, okay, Locke, I would be okay with that. Like, that flash of MODOK, if that's the back of his chair, I will be fine. I will back off completely. If Megatron was a Transformer baby. Looks like it should be in Power Rangers. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. If that's the design... Alright, so I have heard some context on this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm showing the picture because I need to show everybody what we're working with.
Alright, so one, it's not an official fan art. It's not an official image from the movie.
Not official, understood. Not confirmed.
It's based off of what was seen in the trailer, though, my understanding. Also, in addition, I think apparently this is how he starts out. We do get a shot of his actual face behind that mask towards the end of the movie. My understanding.
Sorry, I'm laughing at Locke. He's like, Ross, that's how I'm getting myself to sleep at night, believing that.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, but yeah, of course, all the pictures have been coming out of the Avengers game, which, by the way, you can go to our YouTube channel and check out my gameplay of the Avengers game. I did play it on stream, and it is archived there for you.
Yes, it is.
Cheap plug.
It's one of your favorite games you've ever played, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the MODOK at the end of that story trailer is amazing, because you literally throughout the game see the progression of him as the head scientist in AIM, experimenting on himself and becoming MODOK, because he was originally a guy, until he gets into the seat. And it's different from the comic version. The look of him is very different, but it still keeps intact what the whole story of him is.
Yeah.
The problem with this one is it looks like just a robot. It looks like we're doing the crappy CGI story, ripping off a little bit of what we tried to do in Age of Ultron. And it's like, MODOK is like one of the big bads leading up AIM. AIM has been referenced in the MCU at this point, obviously. It was literally the big bad for Iron Man 3. But it hasn't been touched in a long time, because that was like, what, 2013 Iron Man 3 came out, and literally like 10 years ago. And it's never been referenced since. This, of course, as we said, is a concept art. The problem is, it seems to miss the whole point of the character. When that crappy Hulu show of MODOK has a more accurate looking MODOK than the freaking MCU, you have a problem. Yeah. And I will die on a hill that show is trash. Even by comedy standards, it's trash. It's not a good show. I love Patton Oswalt. He's amazing. He is hysterical. This was not his thing.
Yeah.
This was not how the show to lift him and elevate him further. That's absolutely being Pip the Troll. You'll know this. Locke, don't even at me. Don't say you're going to argue that. Of course you liked it, Locke. Of course you did. I am sorry, it is trash. And if you liked it, fair enough. I am very aware I come from the UK. I've got a very different sense of humour from a lot of Americans. There's a lot of American comedies and humour that I don't like. And part of it is the culture.
Mm-hmm.
But like I couldn't even get through the first episode. I'm like, this is just...
Right, I think I stopped mid-episode too.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. But I was
okay, Isaac, yeah, Hit Monkey is the rare thing. Like, Hulu put out a Hulu exclusive Marvel show in Hit Monkey that should not have been good. And it is. I don't know how they pulled it off. It's 100% a one-off, but, like, they did it with Hit Monkey. But yeah, I was not a fan of MODOK, but at least the character looked accurate. This 100% could be MODOK. It could be that it's a mask or something and it lifts up and he's in there. It could be the back of the chair and it's a concept based on it. There could be a bunch of explanations. This is not a definitive thing. My worriment is, like, what direction are they going with? Because this looks very much like AI taking over, like, the role in AIM rather than the mad scientist that is MODOK. You know, and don't get me wrong, MODOK's not exactly a massive thing. MODOK's, you know, almost a joke at this point in Marvel as it is. But yeah, what was your thoughts on seeing the concept art and the possible MODOK?
I thought it was awful. Like the entire absurdity of MODOK. I don't know a ton about MODOK, but the entire absurdity of him is just seeing this giant floating head talking to you.
Yeah.
That is a human face stretched out, tiny arms and tiny legs. As absurd as that is, the horror, because he is like a horror character. The horror of it is seeing this giant human face stretched out talking to you from this mechanical robot body. Not a robot face.
Yeah.
You know? So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Again, we're missing a lot of context about the image, and we're missing, you know, what it actually is and what it actually isn't. So, I don't know. I'm going to wait to see, just like I try to do all the time, but it looks corny.
Yeah. It does. We'll need to see with it. But speaking as well of Patton Oswalt, he may have also let slip in an interview recently details that Eternals 2 is officially on the books. Mm-hmm. Of course,
Chloe Zhao is going to direct.
Yep, director's coming back for it, hinting at Harry Styles and himself coming back as what's his face? I forgot Harry Styles' character. I completely blanked on the name.
Eros.
As Eros, yeah.
Eros and Pip. Yep.
And Pip the Troll coming back because they obviously came in at the end credits scene. It was setting up stuff with them. It was left on a cliffhanger, but apparently he is essentially confirmed before Marvel has that this is happening. Mm-hmm. We all presumed that it was going ahead. We all presumed there's probably going to be an announcement at D23, if not later on, that it's happening. Star Fox, not Adam. Yeah, that's his. Thank you. I'm like, I had the name in my head. It was like there. I just couldn't.
Eros, though, right? I thought it was Eros.
Yeah, Star Fox is like his superhero name.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so Eternals 2. Yeah, Rob's like, what? Eternals 2? Why?
Okay, Rob, please don't disown me, Rob. But I actually kind of dug Eternals. I liked it.
It's almost like that's a question.
It wasn't the best movie.
Almost like that's a question our partnership.
He's deleting our messages now.
Hopefully, we'll read the audience.
I didn't mind it.
Hopefully they'll read the reaction and feedback. A trailer for Ant-Man Quantumania. I think they will make it work somehow. I've really liked the costume design from the first two movies. I'm guessing they threw something together for the trailer and maybe still designing him. That's it. It's from an early trailer. It might not be finished CGI, and the stuff that they've shown so far looks pretty decent. So, yeah. But the Eternal stuff is like, it's like the Eternals was very much a kind of hit and miss, mostly miss for people. There was very few that kind of came out and went, "This is amazing." No,
we're not.
No, I'm actually gonna be joking about Eternals 2. It's not been officially confirmed by Marvel yet. It's not on the slate for Phase 5 or 6 yet. But like Patton Oswalt has said that they should be coming back for it, and the director's coming back for it, and everything. So it's basically waiting to hear it. And that's the thing. Like, there's Phase 5. There's still room for stuff to be put in there if they want. Technically, Phase 6 is still an open slate of what we could be seeing. Like, the only things we know for that are the Avengers movies and Fantastic Four at this point.
Yeah.
So that could easily be a D23 announcement.
D23 is going to break the internet.
Yeah. Eternals wasn't amazing, but it was okay. I do feel we need another one though to redeem the setup they tried to do in the first one. as inaccurate as it was. Yeah, Star Fox is Thanos' brother, absolutely, as he is. I wonder if they'll reference that now that he's definitely, like, if they do the sequel and he's definitely in it, if they'll reference the fact that Thanos was his brother. Eternals 2, E-Vengers. Eternals 2, Electric Boogaloo. But yeah, it's like, so we might be getting Eternals 2, which is a likelihood for the Phase 6 slate.
Yeah.
Like I said, we don't have anything really announced for that except Fantastic Four to kick it off and a double Avengers feature to end it.
One thing that I've been thinking about, obviously there's a contract with Fox and the X-Men to where they can't recast any of the X-Men until 2025. So I'm really curious to see what they're gonna do, like, in the next couple of years.
That was another rumor I seen circulating that kind of goes against that, actually.
Really?
Was apparently there was a rumor that there's a show that in early talks for development, there's nothing official of it yet, and there's no confirmation from any like major source. It was just a rumor I seen going around that they're working on a Storm show. That could be a good in for the X-Men if they did work on a Storm show. Sadly, we don't have the T'Challa anymore because of Chadwick Boseman's passing, and that was her link. But Storm does have a big link to Wakanda. She was married to T'Challa for a long time and was the queen of Wakanda for a while. So stupid how they divorced him in the comics. They should have just kept it, because heaven forbid in Marvel and DC any married couples stay happy. But yeah, so that could be a good in for the X-Men there with that one.
They better not that, Adam. They better not.
Fantastic Four is going to subvert expectations and recast Miles Teller's Top Gun mustache as Reed Richards. So they did reference him as Thanos' brother in the scene.
Did they?
Oh, did they?
I don't remember that, actually.
I need to go back and check that. I literally don't remember that. I might have just been so, brain dead by the end of that movie. I don't remember it, but, I don't know why Nitro doesn't remember it. It's his favourite MCU movie ever,
That's actually not what I said, but okay.
What do you know? You're the man that
introduces him. He says the Prince of Titan, brother of Thanos. Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah. I was going to say, what is your opinion, Matt? You're the guy that thinks Avengers is trash, so...
Do we need to go over this again? We need to go over this again. I was having a bad moment,
forever.
Moment.
I will go over this forever.
I was having a bad day, a bad internet moment, and I unceremoniously said the Avengers is garbage tier. Okay, I don't really think Avengers is garbage tier. I feel like I need to make that super clear. Now, it is not that great of a movie.
You felt strongly enough about this to tweet it and put it out there.
I stand by that. I don't think it's that great of a movie. It's not a bad movie, okay? It's just not anywhere near the best Marvel movie, in my opinion. Okay? I feel like there's some nostalgia that might be clouding people's goggles, so to speak. Yeah, trash tier was a little harsh. I 100% agreed. You and Cross immediately called me out on that, and I agree 100%. I was having a bad day. I had a moment. The first Avengers mallet, and the second one, if we're being fair.
The second one wasn't great.
Second one is worse.
Second one is worse. Not great, I will be honest with that, but...
I just love... We can move on from that.
I love bringing it up, because every time I do, you automatically go into backpedal defense mode, regardless of how long it's been.
There was a huge thread in our Discord about Avengers, and I listed out in a lot of detail why Avengers is not that great of a movie.
Oh yeah, and I 100% didn't respond to it on purpose because I just wanted to piss you off by bringing it up, and then you just went off on one, and I'm just gonna let him go. I'm not even gonna respond. I'm literally poking the bear just to see what'll happen, and you went off on one.
Oh my gosh. Age of Ultron is unquestionably the worst Avengers movie. I would probably agree.
Rob saying, I felt Eternals was okay, but it messes heavily with the real world of Marvel. We don't have a giant robot sticking out of our oceans.
True.
Yeah, nobody references that in any movie following it. Marvel has always tried to exist alongside our real world. If you have some cool changes like Avengers Tower, etc., it could exist someday or now. I feel like you're messing with our world too much. Asgard works great because it's alien-like Guardians. I think people have easy time believing E.T. exists as a sci-fi element. Yeah, just creating it like that. It's like we're not talking gods here, we're talking other beings from another realm. It kind of works. But yeah, that's the thing that I think we talked about it a little bit as well. The whole Eternals thing, the big celestial coming out of the water, the hand and the head coming out.
What happened in 2020?
Okay, you you turned this into a big stone thing, so it's no longer a threat in the sense of world being destroyed. And I'm like, it would throw like our freaking system into chaos, though. It would disrupt oceans, it would disrupt weather, it would like cause so many problems. Yeah, look, absolutely. It's like, that's the giant robot remark. It's driving me crazy that they're not addressing it. Like, address it like it would be affecting the world.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. And
it would have like its own microclimate. Like, you're affecting its entire ecosystem of the planet. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, it's like it would essentially affect everything in the ecosystem. But worst MCU movie. I think The Dark World is the worst MCU movie. I can't argue. It's pretty bad. It's down now.
It's close. It's close, but I feel like Age of Ultron beats it out. It's really bad.
I don't know. I think Age of Ultron's got more like redeeming qualities than Dark World. I would definitely put it higher. I mean, they're both at the bottom of the list. Don't get me wrong.
The thing is, I'm a huge Spader fan, and I feel like what they did with him with Ultron is just unforgivable, in my opinion. I feel like hinging the movie on his somebody said it in chat, but overly human, his characterization, overly human characterization. Even some of his like he wanted to vomit it in his mouth. I'm like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, that is. Ultron, I'm not gonna lie, like he's one of the redeeming things in the movie for me. That David Spader, like in any shape or form, is a high point in anything he does. He's a phenomenal actor. He did the best he could with what he was given to work with. Ultron was not written the best.
Yeah,
they could have done a lot more with it. It was
waiting. It's Joss. I'm telling you, if Joss wasn't the director for either of those Avengers films, they would have been 10 times better. And it's not because of him as a person, just because of the trash human being he is. Not, I'm sorry, that was a little harsh, but as far as the person he is, I don't think he's a good movie director. There, I said it. I don't think he's a good movie director or a writer. I think he's decent with television, but he's not a good movie director.
Yes, and I think we did say David Spader. I meant James Spader, obviously. For that, my bad. But yeah, James Spader is always a phenomenal acting choice, and like his acting is amazing. James Spader's phenomenal in pretty much anything he does. He's one of those top tier actors,
especially The Office. Robert California.
He is so weird when he comes into the office. It's so bizarre, but it works so well.
Yeah.
The worst Marvel movie is better than the best DC movie, pretty much. It's not that far off it.
Rob hasn't heard our episode on Firefly.
Oh, he needs to hear that because he needs to know your thoughts on Firefly.
All right, Rob. There's this long storied history of me losing my geek cred on this show, Rob. For those of you who don't know, so we actually did. I had never seen Firefly before I met Cross. So that was one of the things we did. We watched. Was it half? No, it wasn't half.
Yeah, we watched the season, right? Yeah, we watched the first half. We still technically it's been 2.5 years. We still have to do the second half of that episode.
So we watched the first half, and I didn't hate it. I'm just not a huge fan of Josh Whedon's. I always call him Josh. Josh Whedon's style.
Why are you saying his last name like that? Why are you saying
Whedon?
It so weird?
Is it Whedon? It's not Whedon.
It's Whedon. It's always been Whedon. What's Whedon? Where are you bringing this up from? It has never been Whedon.
It's just I don't want to pronounce it correctly because I don't feel like he deserves it.
I think it's because you're so focused on getting the first name right that the second name's just going off on its own, doing its own thing.
So I did not hate it, Rob. It just I didn't grow up with Firefly. I didn't grow up with that type of show. I like a very specific type of sci-fi, and it was just kind of out my wheelhouse. And just the way that he does like action and stuff like that. I wasn't a huge fan. I didn't hate it, but I just wasn't a huge fan. So Whedon, there we go.
It's like long E. And David Spader equals James Spader is Joe Dirt, pretty much, yeah.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd actually check that out. That would just pique my interest to at least see. Nitro mispronouncing Whedon's name.
I never saw Battlestar Galactica, Rob. Actually. Is that another geek cred lost?
Probably. I've not really seen any of the new stuff. I never had the chance to in Scotland. I've never been able to stream it here. I've seen some of the old Battlestar Galactica. It is one of those sci-fi ones I do need to see.
So that being said, like to be fair, Whedon's run on Avengers, I forgot it wasn't the Uncanny Avengers. What was it?
Medicine.
No, Astonishing Avengers. No, Astonishing X-Men. I'm sorry, Astonishing X-Men. Whedon's run on Astonishing X-Men was awesome.
Oh yeah,
I loved it.
For a Whedon thing, surprisingly, it's actually really good.
So I like some of his stuff. It's just when he tries to do the whole directing thing for me, specifically movies, it just does not.
Yeah,
It's
some
not my
stuff
cup
really
of tea.
has a Whedon thing to it. Like I will say this, I still have a love for Firefly. I still think it holds up for me. But I will say other shows that I've watched, like that are Whedon shows,
Mhm.
don't hold up. Like there's stuff in Firefly that doesn't hold up as much. I'll be honest, but like I'm still a fan of the show. I still think it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But when you look at stuff like Buffy and Angel and like some of these big shows, like I think there's definite stuff in there that doesn't hold up to today. There's definite stuff that I look back and go and like, oh my goodness, this is actually not great at all. Like rewatching some of it, you're like, I felt like this was a lot better when I watched it the first time round.
Mhm. I mean, some of the characterization in Firefly was awesome. Like, I love Nathan Fillion's character.
Oh yeah,
And I love just any interaction that he had with anyone was awesome. So there were parts that I really liked about Firefly. I just like I think just tonally for me, it was just weird. It was just weird.
I love this
Um,
episode talking about all this stuff with Marvel and DC. It became Nitro defending his stance on everything because it's different from everyone else's. Battlestar Galactica, watched the new one. I liked it, but I think it's like 10 years old already.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's an older series. Like it had 4 seasons too, and it wrapped up ages ago. Firefly has some great character development. Only 14 episodes. Like yeah, it done a lot in the 14 episodes it got. And Nathan Fillion is just—he's fantastic.
He's great, man.
You can give him anything, and the guy's phenomenal. Like he
Yeah.
just he does so well.
They need to actually give him a real role in MCU other than the Guardians of the Galaxy one that he got.
Well, the whole talk, the interesting thing is like I wonder if they're ever going to go back to it because there's talks of like a Wonder Man show coming, and
I don't
him
know anything about Wonder Man.
and him as Wonder Man was actually yes Rob Castle. For the first 4 seasons was phenomenal, and then after season 4 it went downhill really quickly. But the first 4 seasons were amazing. But yeah, it's like in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, he had a bit like appearance, but it was on posters playing Wonder Man because Wonder Man is an actor. And it was like movies like the Tony Stark movie and all this stuff. And apparently a lot of it was taken out for like timing and stuff. But I always wondered if they were going to go back to that. Like now they've announced a Wonder Man show, are they going to keep that and bring Fillion back? Because he'd actually be really good at that, I
So
think.
he's canon in MCU as Wonder Man, poster.
He was going to be canon, but it had to end up. The scene that it appeared in had to be cut. It was like a background poster thing. It wasn't a big deal. But I think the whole thing was it had to be cut. And like they released it like back when Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 came out, they released images of it.
Okay.
As him as Wonder Man, and like, but now that they're announcing a
that.
show, I'm intriguing to see if it happens. Yeah, see Robin Castle, I feel like it went down in flames. Like the whole thing of like Castle and Beckett and getting together, I thought was really good, and then at the end of season 4 they got really good, and once they had them as a couple, I don't think they knew what to do with them, and so it just kind of floundered for a couple of seasons, and the last seasons just weren't worth it. Blowing up my Greek
People are-
kid.
People are coming up with names for our hot take episode.
Extra's hot takes with host Cross is like Extra's hot takes. That needs to be. Oh, do you know what that needs to be? That needs to be like a new thing on our Ko-fi along with our like pre-show stuff.
Dude, we should totally
Just like 10-15 minute segments of you and a hot take on something.
They broke in real life.
We're talking real life and they hated
together.
working it. Oh yeah, they hated it. Like they hated
Who
work.
is this?
In Castle, Nathan Fillion played Castle in it, like the mystery writer that worked with the police.
Yeah.
Him and Beckett, like the main female lead, hated each other.
Really?
It got to the point of like apparently there was rumors that she'd be on tears, like coming off set and stuff like that, like because of the way they were treating each other. To the point of like Castle was actually meant to get one more season. It was greenlit for one more season, but Beckett was written out of it. She was let go, and then they eventually just cancelled the show because it was like, why go ahead with one of the leads when the whole thing has been based around the two of them? Don't get me wrong, Stana Katic and Nathan Fillion are phenomenal actors. To the point of like, if you watch the show, you would never realise they hated each other, like working with each other in real life. But yeah, it got bad. It got really bad. But I will stand by the first 4 seasons of Castle are like some of my favourite shows. I loved that show, and then season 5 I felt dipped, and it just kept dipping from there. You know, it's kind of like Heroes. Like you watch the first season and it's really good, and then after that it just kind of starts to go down. It doesn't quite hold up after that, which was really sad because I really loved Heroes.
Yeah, that's such a good show.
I even loved the Heroes Reborn, that one season they came back for. Like I was getting into it, and I'm like, but it was never going to get enough to get over, and I'm like, That show had so much potential.
That was such a cool show, dude. I remember tuning in every week for that.
Oh yeah, man! Like it was so well done at the time. Would he be able to do the Wonder Man of the Vision personality thing now that he already skipped over it all? I don't know what they would do with that. Yeah, because there's a whole thing with Vision connected to that. I don't know where they're going to go with it, to be honest. If we're going to use OG Wonder Man or Blue and Red Energy Vision. Every time heroes come up, I get mad all over again. It recovered from the writer's strike. It really didn't.
Oh yeah, that's what did it in.
Season 2 changed everything for heroes. Okay. Rants with Cross.
Do we need to do a heroes episode?
I think we do. I think we need to do a heroes thing.
I'm down, man.
Season 1 was so good.
And the whole cheerleader save the world.
Yeah. That was everywhere. That was freaking everywhere when heroes came out. Season 2 was meant to end differently, because Season 2 was a whole thing with it was the disease getting let loose in the world and stuff like that, and hey LJ the Paladin, how is it going, sir? Welcome on in. And the whole thing with the disease and the whole stopping of that, the original ending of Season 2, it was meant to get released. Like the ending of Season 2 with the writer's strike was the whole thing of like they actually stopped it. Like they get the disease, they get the vial, like Peter puts it in his hands and like heats it up and it's destroyed, it's gone. That wasn't meant to be the original ending. They were meant to fail. They were meant to lose. Kind of like how the big finish for Season 1 was them like stopping the explosion going off. Season 2 was meant to be a case of that they would they failed basically.
Yeah.
But like it never got to go anywhere. It's like the writer's strike totally threw it off.
Yeah, I thought Zachary Quinto as Sylar was such a cool casting. But that show was phenomenal, man. That show was phenomenal.
Yeah, like Season 1 of it was amazing. I kind of liked the elements of Season 3. There was definitely cool elements I thought in Season 3 when they tried to bring it back, but it was
honestly remember Season 3.
Season 3 was the whole thing of like the villains, like the Petrelli's father was actually alive and was heading up like his own group of heroes, and it was becoming the company versus his group and all this, and it's like there was good moments to it, but it was like it just never recovered.
Yeah,
and I liked what they did with the new season. I thought when they brought back Heroes Reborn, I thought it was pretty decent. It was a good carry on and follow up to it, but I think at that point everyone was just kind of done with it. It was one of those shows that was never going to be able to recapture the magic as much as they tried.
It started in 2006, so you could say that it kicked off the superhero boom, man.
Yeah, it was right at the start of the superhero boom, and Season 1 is like beloved. Like everyone loves that first season. The first season was so good. So maybe we do need to do a hero show. Maybe
I think we do actually.
All right, but yeah, I think we've covered most of our stuff for today. We're kind of just ranting and talking now, which is fun. But is there any other major stuff you wanted to talk about? Any other stuff to kind of cover? I think we've hit most of them.
No, man. For those of you who missed it at the beginning, so we do have an official date for our Dungeons and Dragons stream that we're going to be started, which is super exciting. So we'll be starting our official Dungeons and Dragons on September the 1st, hopefully, which is a Thursday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So if you're free, that will be replacing the Art of the Hero streams every other week. So we'll be doing Dungeons and Dragons every 2 weeks. So if you're free, we're going to be doing a lot of announcements leading up to that day. But just to book that in your calendar. Thursday night, baby. See you, Rob.
See you, Rob. Thank you so much, man. We'll definitely be talking to you about that afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Parting thought on heroes. Every time I see Greg Grunberg in anything, I yell out, "Hey, it's Matt Parkman!" Absolutely. Every time I see her, I was like, "It's him from Heroes." It's like, it's so cool. That's literally where I know him from. The guy's showing up in so much stuff like Star Wars. And everything now.
Same. I had to look up to see who that was. Yeah, same. And the dude who plays Jack Coleman. What does he play? Noah Bennett.
Oh yeah. I love him.
Every time I see him, I'm like, that's the dude.
Yeah. It's like absolutely. Yeah. It's so good, man. We definitely do a hero show now. That's definitely
let's do it. That's on the books.
Alright, but I think that's kind of us for today for our show. We don't really have any other stuff to do, and wifey came in there. I need to go and help with the kids a little bit. So we're going to wrap up here. Coming up this week, we are going to be Jay will be back tomorrow night, 8:30. She is going to be kicking off her first time play. Yeah, HRD lock, horn rim glasses, HRG. She's going to be kicking off her playthrough of Stray. She's going to be starting a playthrough of that. She's super excited for that. So make sure to join her 8:30 tomorrow night to hang out and watch her roam about as a ginger cat. I will be back Tuesday night playing some more Horizon Zero Dawn, getting back into that. I feel like we're getting closer to the end of the kind of major story for it. We're starting to push to the end of that, so definitely come and hang out with me for that. I don't believe it's going to end this time round, but I think we're definitely getting there. Nitro, I believe, will be back this Thursday with some art.
Yeah. We'll be continuing to work on Dee's commission that we started this past week, so pretty excited about that. And if you weren't there this past Thursday, we got a live art lesson from Rob Dots, who just left chat, who, if you're not aware, is an actual professional comic book illustrator. So that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, Mr. RS Dawnbringer in our chat, and Mr. Rob Stotts. Oop. Don't know what's going on there. But yeah, so it was like... So now we're back with that. Friday night we'll be back with a little bit more Sea of Thieves. I want to try and get some Sea of Thieves in before we officially switch over to doing Dungeons and Dragons. And then we will be back next Sunday. I'm not sure what we're going to be talking about next Sunday, but we've got some big stuff coming up next week. We will be off, I believe, the following week from that. So we're going to try and do something for this, and then we'll be returning with our Indie Comic Book Club. Yep. Also, as well as Nitro said, please make sure to come and check us out September 1st for our Dungeons and Dragons session. As we kick off with Tom Levine kicking off the brand new thing.
What name did you say?
What name actually? I am not sure. Rob Stotts, the artist. He's RS Dawnbringer, who was in chat with us today. But also as well with our new Dungeons & Dragons, make sure to go and check out Only Crits if you want to get some of those D&D dice and dice accessories, or to check out BCW Supplies for all your collection and comic book needs. But I think that's everything. Let me go ahead and...
We were all over the place in this episode. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, we had a lot of stuff.
We needed one of these, man.
Yeah, just a rant. Oh. Alright, let me head over to Twitch quickly and see if we can raid out to... I don't even know who's live right now. I just try and keep better track of this stuff.
Well, we are subscribed to like 400 people, so it's a little difficult.
I like supporting people. Just scroll down, look for someone you recognise and raid out, you know. There we go, Geeks Under Grace is on, we can go and raid them. Yeah, let's go to Geeks Under Grace. Alright, but you all have an absolutely amazing day. We will see you all tomorrow night. Is Cam on? Is he on log? I didn't see him. But yeah, let's do Geeks Under Grace. I'm already heading that way anyway. But you all have an amazing night. We'll see you all tomorrow. And remember, it's a good week to be a geek. Take care and have a good one. See you all soon.
Cierra miedo.